you said something that I'm going to pick up on because I always do this. You said the phrase know, like, and trust, which is a subset of the complete sentence. People do business with folks they know, like, and trust. Okay, what's the most important word in that sentence?
No, people? I don't know.
Business. The most important word in that sentence is business, right? Meaning if you have a model based on know, like, and trust, all you're really doing is making friends.
Right.
Are there people in your world, and you don't have to call them out. This isn't a blacklist. This is a yes or no question, Scott. Are there people in your world that you would go to game, have to your house for game night or go to the bowling alley with, but you would not hire them to do what they do for you?
Yes.
Okay, right, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no, it's funny you mentioned this because she might watch this podcast. I just had this conversation with a friend, Ariel of mine, the other day because she's basically a personal trainer, comes from the fitness background, doing a lot of life coaching. She knows I've consistently had problems with my weight and like kind of my relationship with food. Horrible family history. And she just straight up asked me, she's like, hey man, can I ask you kind of an intimate question? And I'm like, yeah, as long as this doesn't get weird, around my wife or something, sure. And she's like, no, not like that, dummy. She's like, you know what I do. I know you have a problem. Why don't we work together? And I'm like, to tell you the truth, you and I are really good friends. I trust you. I think we have a friendship, and like I could see a business relationship between us ruining our friendship. So I rather stay friends with you and find some other coach than give you a couple extra bucks and that cost our friendship, because I think you're a great person and I want you in my corner as a friend. And then of course there's other people who I won't use by name who I think they do a shitty job at what they do, but they're good guys. I'll go have a drink with them.
Right. Okay, so there you go, right? You have a policy in this moment, in this case, of not doing business with a friend.
Right.
Have you ever met somebody that says, I have a policy when I'm doing business with people, I don't want to get to know them. I don't want to. Right. No, people do like to enjoy becoming more friendly, meaning it's easier to evolve a friendship out of a business relationship than it is evolved a business relationship out of a friendly relationship. Right. So
that's a good point.
When people start by, are you a nice person? That is wholly irrelevant to telling me whether I want you in my world as a referral partner. Because to me, key referral partner is somebody that I can support and be supported by.
Right.
I'm not just going to give a lead to anybody. Right. And so if I investigate, if I examine, if I question around business modalities, and which is still part of their personality, but I ask questions like, tell me an example of an experience with a customer where you got it the next day and went, that's why I do what I do, right? What's the review you go back to that makes you glow inside? Tell me about a case where it started well, went south, but you turned around and got a 4 or 5 star review out of it. Because all of those things tell me about their personality, but they also tell me how they do business.
Right.
How they do business. And that's going to determine whether or not I want them in my trusted corner as somebody that I will give and receive referrals from. And we're asking one set of questions. We're focused on the same model our mom and dad gave us when we went off to the new big school, whether it was middle school or high school. Be interested in other people, ask about their personal lives, right? Find out what's going on in the world, which is fine. But if that's where you stop or that's where you start, then you're building friendships and you're missing out on the business side of things.
Yeah. So let me give you an example where I'm jaded. And then maybe you can give me some coaching around this, right? So,
sure.
So I'm jaded in this manner of I'm a loan officer. Our best referral sources are realtors, right? And when you're doing this fact finding, kind of, we'll call it a discovery call or a get to know you or a coffee appointment or a lunch appointment, and we're having this conversation. Hey, tell me about a time things went well, they started to go south, and then it recovered well. Tell me about why it's important to you. What is your current lender doing well for you, right? Tell me some things you like, you don't like, right? You're doing the whole high trust sale. This is classic Todd Duncan, get to know them, understand their needs analysis, the SWOT analysis. There's a million different names for it, but it's basically that relationship building phase. Every realtor will tell you the same thing. Hey, Scott, I just want transparency. I just want honesty. If you got to tell me on day one that something goes sideways, just tell me on day one, because I rather know the truth up front than, 25 days into the transaction find out there's a problem. Every realtor will say that. And then here's where I'm jaded, and you can give me some coaching, Daniel. When I tell them on day one, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, here's the deal. Your client can't figure out how to access the electronic disclosures. I had to print out a copy and mail it to him. I'm telling you right now, because the client is a little older and can't figure out how to use the internet, we're going to close the deal late. We should just right now, before we get into this headache, we should ask for a 7-day extension. Let's just make it easier on everybody. What happens at that moment is the buyer's agent goes, well, I'm not going to tell the listing agent. Let's just lie to them until day 25 and then ask for the extension. Oh, and by the way, Scott, now that you were honest with me and transparent, I'm going to call you every hour on the hour for the next 25 days to see if you're behind, see if you're staying on top of the client, see if you're screwing up. And I'm like, this is why lenders aren't transparent with you, because it would have been less work for me just to hang you out to dry 25 minutes in or 25 days into the transaction. Like, you don't actually want me to be honest with you. Okay. So this is where I'm jaded.
Well, sure. And please, let's not pin it on real estate agents. Most people say they want the truth, and then when you tell it, you're the asshole.
Yeah. Honey, does this
George Carlin said that, right?
Yeah. Does this dress make me look fat? It's a trap. It's a trap.
I'm not even talking about that level. People say they want the truth because they think they can deal with it. But if it means extra work for them or it means they look bad, they're not interested in it. And I've got a whole philosophy around, what I've observed in people's ability to recognize themselves as different than who they truly are, right? Meaning anyway, got a whole, man, we could spend another hour on that. But anyway, the first is, yes, that's its own red flag, right? Don't hold it against the industry, right? It's people in general that don't do well with truth, which is a challenge because I believe in telling the truth all the time. And most people will tell you, my first wife included, Dan's better in small doses, right?
Right.
I get a lot of stories that start with, well, at first, I didn't really like you. I'm like, oh, I know how this one is. Right? But now I'm your hero. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, this happens a lot. But anyway, because I'm not brutal, but I'm not going to hide anything from you. Jack Welch said it. Tell me early, tell me all.
Yeah.
Tell me early, tell me all.
Tell me early, tell me all. I love that.
Yeah. Something like that. I'm roughly paraphrasing, but tell me early was part of it. Anyhow, so here's the key, right? Then you mark that down. And you had to go into that. You had to show some trust in that situation, right? But you mark that down as somebody that doesn't do what they say they're going to do. So when somebody asks you for a referral, they're not on the list anymore, right? And so one of the ways they can build trust that you can't, I'm kind of giving away the secret sauce here, but why do you get referrals from customers?
Because we did a good job.
Because they trust you.
Yeah.
Right. Because you've had experience with customers. You don't want referrals. They'll never refer you and you wouldn't take it anyway.
Right.
It's because it's the ones that, which should be a majority. It's because they trust you, not because they've been your customer, because they trust you.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do they trust you? You did what you said you were going to do. You're an expert in your industry. You kept them up to date on the progress and you showed up for your appointments.